Okay, this video is about something called stoichiometry. It may sound like a very difficult word, but it actually is kind of easy. I would suggest that you write this down as we're doing it so it can be in your notes and you can actually follow through process as I'm going ahead and doing. So, this is our setup, and your sentence may be, I have 215 grams of C8H17, and it's going to ask for how many moles of this. So you're going to see that it involves switching from here over to here. Do not make this out as being difficult. If you have mole conversion down, it should not be a problem. So first of all, we're going to draw our lines here. Now, as far as figuring out what you'd have to do for steps, we pretty much have to go through process on this one. Once you get used to it, you might see the pattern. So we got my given, which goes here. Again, we're going to be canceling out like we normally do. Now, I've already pre-calculated the mass for the C8H17, which is going to be 113 grams. And as with the normal mole conversion, the mole has to make an appearance somewhere here, or pretty much almost somewhere anywhere. So we're going to put our mole here. And that's going to be 1 mole of this thing here. You have to have the mindset you're still over on this side and you haven't started moving yet. Now you're going to be able to move over here to here, which I refer to as the switchover. And what happens with the switchover is you're going to notice that when I go to mole of C8H17, like I'm canceling, this right here is called my switchover. So basically what that says is that this and this are actually in equal amounts. So I'm going to take this number from here, which is 4, and I'm going to take this number from here, which is 32 moles of CO2. Again, I told you that way of recognizing if I am done. That tells me I'm in moles of CO2, which is my ending point. And you always have to be aware of what your ending point is and looking at this upper right. So now, all I have to do is just continue following pattern. Now here's a suggestion. You need to total up the top, total up the bottom. Just like with the mole conversion, you are multiplying these guys, and it's going to become a fraction. So this times this equals this, this times this equals this. Now I can go ahead and divide it. Okay, so now we're going to round it. You got 3 numbers here. Your answer has to be in 3 numbers. My third number is this one here. That 2 doesn't do anything with that 2, so now it's just going to be 15.2 moles of CO2. So that is the calculation for that part. It really doesn't matter if I'm going from left to the right, right to the left, between these two. It is the same procedure, so it does not change. Kind of like everything in chemistry. It does not change. So let's go ahead and try another one. I'll just erase these so we don't have any confusing marks. So it's going to be 432 CO2 plus 68. 68, 34. Okay, I change all the numbers out just so it's fairly obvious, you know, what you're doing as far as your numbers and how you're moving. So let's say I want to do, let's see, 218 grams of H2O, and I want to figure out grams of this. Again, I can go from anything to anywhere. So I'm going to write my lines. This is 218 grams of H2O. If I follow pattern, grams H2O is going to go on the bottom because I got to follow pattern. Mole hasn't made an appearance yet, so I might as well just put it up here. And of course the mole is the big one, so we put a 1. Remember, still haven't moved. I'm still at H2O. I got to follow pattern. So I'm going to, oops, I got to get the mass of this, which is 18 grams. Now we can move on. I got mole at the bottom of H2O, because again, I got to follow pattern. When I see mole on the bottom for the first time, that is my switch over. And my switch over is from here to here. So I'm going to have a switch over going from here to here, and that's the only time I can do my switch over. I can't do it any time else. So now I'm going to switch over to CO2. That's the only place I can switch over. And then I just write down these numbers that I see here and make sure they're in the correct spot. Now I'm in mole of CO2, but I got to go to grams. So I'm going to go one more step. So I got mole of CO2, cancel. And I've got grams of CO2. Now if I'm out of switch over, I'm going to start going with the big one again, which is this one. And then I'm going to do a mass for CO2, which is 44, also could be 44.009 grams. And then I'm just going to multiply again across the top. And I'm going to divide it by the stuff on the bottom. And then I'm going to divide. Okay, so now I'm going to look on here. You're going to see 3 numbers here. I got to go to 3 numbers. My third number is going to be a 1, which means now this is going to change this because it rounds up. The answer is going to be 502 grams of CO2. We just go through pattern, regardless of whatever you see, regardless of whatever you see as far as units. Let's go ahead and do another one. Okay, so we're back to our base equation. Let's say I have, let's see, 52 moles of O2. And I want to figure out how many moles of this I have. Now you just need to remember, if we did our mole conversions, if we saw mole, it always seemed to take away one of the equations. Now we see moles twice, so it's actually going to make this a whole lot shorter. So we got 52 moles of O2. And again, it's going to be in sentence form. And then I am going to go from moles of O2 to moles of O2. Oops, see mole on the bottom for the very first time. And now I can do my numbers because I can now immediately switch over. So I got 49 moles of this, and I'm switching over to this one, so now my switch over is going to involve doing this. Then I'm going to cancel, got that. And my number's going to end up 4.244. You see that we have two numbers here. We go to the second number, it's going to be 4.2 moles of C8H17. So that would be the first three questions as far as stoichiometry. So that's going to be a set. I'm going to put numerous sets of stoichiometry on there so you can just continue working on it and knowing it. Right now we've just done grams and moles. The next ones are going to start going into different units.